the process would be.
Well, thank you for having both of us. We're happy to be here, and I appreciate the kind words. I mean, I can't imagine operating any other way. So we did a little homework because, as David, what you said, Tab brought it before us and just mentioned it. So we have nothing in writing. There's no proposal. There's no timeline. There's really nothing right now other than, are we willing to consider the concept, and could he bring a proposal to us? And so that's kind of where we're at right now. A stormwater utility, what it would be is a fee on households and commercial businesses that would be a dedicated funding source just for mitigating flooding in Conway. So it would be to make sure the ditches and the creeks are cleaned out. And depending on, and right now, Wes and I were talking, would I vote for it? Right now I'd say I don't know, because I don't know what we would be voting for. I don't know if it's reasonable. I don't know if it's useful, what it would cover. We might have some major projects. I know most of you will recall, was it 2003, 2004, with the horrible flooding downtown? And they've done some things on one side of the tracks to take care of that, but not on both sides. So we had a lot of rain. It could happen again. I know that, I hope you've seen some of the vision plans for the Markham Street development, which will include where the scrapyard was. Could have a amphitheater park, but that would also be a detention pond. So if it did flood, the water could be held there until it drained out. So it would kind of serve multi-purposes in that area. So right now, the next step, I believe, from talking to the mayor, is that we would get an engineer to look at the plan, how it would work, where we have areas of bad, I guess, flooding potential, and then come back to us with a plan or proposal that would lay out, this is what we would charge per household, use that as the basis of the rate for, as I said earlier, for commercial or multifamily properties. But also, and this is where it gets really complicated, is that you could have a business, for example, that has mitigating factors. So, and I immediately thought of Conway Toyota. So, and you all have been out there, they did a lot when they built that. I think is it a gold? Silver or gold green rating for that building. Well, they have a cistern, so they keep all their water, so it doesn't roll off or go anywhere, and then they use that for irrigation. So to me, and that would have, all those kinds of things on a case-by-case basis would have to be considered. So that would be a mitigating factor where you could say, well, based on the size of your property and your building and your non-permeable space, this is what you would be charged, except for the fact that you have this great system set up, and so therefore you would pay half the, I don't know how we would, but that would have to be on a case-by-case basis. So I don't know, have I left? That's kind of the, and so the next...
It's a very premature conversation. Yeah. I mean, David and I spoke earlier about it. It's very premature, the fact that, as he said, we just received information about the possibility of looking at it about maybe 2-3 weeks ago at the last council meeting, one before. And so we are just now trying to decide, one, if this is something we want to move forward with, two, if we want to take it to the people and let them, give us their input. There will be a minimum, I would think, we're thinking about maybe 2 committee meetings and maybe even 1 or 2 public hearings just to talk about it with the public before we enforce anything. A lot of the questions that we had were, why are we looking at adding a tax now because there's currently not really anything being done with the ditches currently. Well, this is kind of why we're having this conversation, is because there's nothing, we have no dedicated stream of revenue to work on the ditches, to work on the flooding, and that's why TAB is bringing this up, because it is becoming a large or a huge kind of hindrance in, especially the downtown area, whenever we get a lot of rain. Businesses flood, there's sandbags, the fire department's out there helping, the whole entire city's out there helping. So that's kind of where we're at now. As I said, this is a very, very premature conversation. We know about as much as we just told you, because that's all they've given us. So, there's nothing we haven't voted on anything, nothing's on the agenda to be voted on. It's strictly all him giving us information, because they don't even have all the information themselves yet.
Well, and I think we would commit to everybody that, like, just like you said, a minimum of 1 to 2 committee meetings where we really spend some time talking about it and seeing what some of the implications are and what the cost would be.
Right.
Because, I don't have any idea how much one of these would even be. What would it be per household? I get the impression it would be very nominal,
right.
But...
And I think you said it pretty well. The first initial idea is to have a set amount per individual residential. Go ahead.
Is there actually a problem with homes or is it businesses?
It's really flooding throughout the whole city. There's homes, there's businesses. We've had a lot of calls, especially in our ward, from different homes flooding because of some of the yards, some of the streets that have been added.
So all the subdivisions or even just the neighborhoods that have a ditch or a creek or anything running through it. The one Wes was talking about is actually at Donaghy in Arkansas, and there's a ditch, if you've seen, that runs back there, and that floods and backs up, and it backs up into this gentleman's yard. So it's all over.
Yeah, it's residential and commercial both,
Yeah.
not just